Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar organized by YouFoodin. Today's topic is energy crunch and food industry crisis. I'm Yang Wang from YouFoodin. I will be the moderator of the webinar. YouFoodin has invited two speakers today, Guido Kramer, Vice President Sales Asia of Saputo. Guido has worked in the dairy industry since 18 years. He has passed 12 years in South America, then moved respectively in Japan and Australia to take in charge of the sales of the whole Asian market. Guido is the expert in the field of import and export. Laurent Pousse, General Manager of the Purchasing Department of the Mall Group in Thailand and founder of East Euro Management. Laurent has been in the food industry since more than 30 years, from food service and hospitality sector to trading and sourcing product to offering expertise to helping growing business in Asia. The webinar will be 40 minutes presentation followed by a short question and answer session. So during the presentation, don't hesitate to enter your questions on the chat box. Our speakers will try to answer the maximum of questions at the end of the presentation. Today's webinar will be recorded. If for any reason you cannot watch it entirely or you want to share it with your colleagues, you will find the link on youfoodin.com. Just for reminding, YouFoodin is a free social platform dedicated for food and beverage industry professionals. It allows professionals to develop their business network, keep up to date the market news, get access to trade show events calendar, and find a job or recruit. Now, let's begin the webinar. Currently, all the global industry face a general crisis. Food industry is not an exception. Pandemic, environmental, economic, and social, this has been reinforced because of the energy crisis going on in China recently and spreading all over the world. Guido and Laurent, as professionals of food and beverage industry and expert in international trade, what can you tell us about the current crisis? I mean, how is this impacting the global industries? Which parts are the most impacted? Guido, please.
Okay, so thanks and good night, everyone. Hello from Melbourne, Australia. Thanks for the opportunity to participate, Melanie. And yeah, for the first question, I guess that in some categories, what we've seen is the volume of general exchange has been reduced. We are affected by increasing shipping rates. We have been seeing prices of certain foodstuff escalate, and that creates basically a vacuum in some of the markets, and of course, an increasing cost in processing capacity.
Okay. Yeah, Laurent, please.
So if you don't mind, so first, yes, welcome to everybody, and thank you to YouFoodin for welcoming me. Sawadee krap, because I'm in Bangkok. Even I'm French, but I'm in Asia since a long time. Let me go to the cause of what we are facing actually. So for the first time in humankind history, we have a global crisis that combines pandemic, global warming, and geopolitical uncertainty. So all that never happened in the mankind. The last crisis was the Second World War, but it was very different. So in terms of the pandemic, you have the restriction of travel, slow production, shortage of overhead of staff. Why? Because people cannot travel to do the harvest in some region, etc. The global warming, shortage of crops or change of crops. You have countries that they cannot develop what they were harvesting. So this is also part of the crisis. And then the geopolitical uncertainty that is also the cause of this global crisis that is linked as well to the pandemic. You have change of trade agreements. For instance, you had one very not long ago between Australia and China. The trade agreement has been changed. So the Australian people could not sell the way they were selling in China. So it has also changed their way of working. So it's a global disruption that we are facing. And then we need from that to adapt, to rebound, and to create new opportunities. And that is a real challenge. And actually, I was thinking tonight to explain how I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And finally, the light is fading away because we have a rebound of pandemic somewhere in Africa, and we might need 6 more months, 1 more year. I'm not sure. So all that combined, it's extremely challenging, extremely complicated. But there is also a positive side, that people become creative and also are changing their way of buying and working.
Thank you, Laurent. So from the beginning of the energy crisis, I mean, this energy crunch that started in China is spreading globally. So Guido, from your point of view, how can this impact the overall food security?
That's a very broad question, Melanie, but for the industry I'm more familiar with, I would say that, for example, we are seeing higher prices of fertilizer, which impact in all the supply chain. I think that's a very clear consequence.
Yeah. And how are companies dealing with the production and logistic shortage in import and export? Sorry.
Yeah. So, sorry, Melanie. Well, look, I think it's a matter that is concerning all the supply chains from all the industries. I don't know if there is a specific answer to that, but definitely today the main constraint is supply chain. So we are all limited by the amount of products that can be actually shipped and arrive to destinations on time, rather than being well serviced. We are basically all suffering from the limitations that the supply chain has, and that is creating a lot of challenges for all this type of I would say industries that depend on logistics to be able to basically place their products in the markets that we service.
Okay, Laurent.
But on our side, it's a very important challenge because we can't get the product. We have a difference on let's say a container what's costing around $1,800 a year ago or 2 years ago. It's almost 6,000 to 7,000 US for one container. So you have to put this price somewhere, and then you can't get you can't have an ETA that is timing to get your product. So the whole disruption of the chain affect the consumers actually, because you can't get the product in the supermarket. The HoReCa, the hotel and restaurants cannot get their product as well. So they need to adapt and to change. And you see in restaurant industry, people who are reducing their menu, they are reducing their offer. For us in supermarket, we are changing our way of buying. We know that we will have disruption of some product. So we need to communicate. That is very important. The communication to our consumers, because they not always understand the challenge. They understand the pandemic, they understand the global warming, they understand the change of politics somewhere, but they don't get the effect of it, because first it's not their field, and two, it's not their priority. Their priority is to make sure that they are safe, they have a job tomorrow. So if they go to the supermarket or the restaurant, they want to see the product, and they don't understand why somebody tells them, oh no, we don't have pasta, for instance. Why? Because the wheat is too expensive, and we can't get also the product. So we will have a shortage of pasta in the coming months, and the price will go from 5 to 20% up. We have difficulties with dairy. We have difficulties with meat. And this is the pandemic and the global warming, because there is drought somewhere and we cannot get enough supply. So everything is linked together, but the communication is the key, because if our consumers don't understand what happens in the world technically, so below the big pictures, what we all face as professionals, they will not understand why the price is going high. I see in France people are screaming because oil or the gas is going up. The product in supermarket is going up, and they don't understand. They are blaming the government, but the government can't do nothing. the government is not the one who import, who is not the one who is putting the pricing on the raw material on the other side of the world. So that's the key, is really to communicate to our consumers.
Thank you, Laurent. In your opinion, how does this crisis fall within a global tense context, pollution, overproducing, decarbonization? Should professionals of the food and beverage see an opportunity to rethink the industry and innovate for positive outcomes? Guido.
Yeah, so definitely, Melanie, I'm sure that the leaders of the industry are rethinking, but those changes take time. So we have a short-term problem that we need to manage, and at the same time, of course, that it presents opportunities that are probably more mid and long term. But in all honesty, I don't think that we will see those changes fast enough to solve the problems that we are facing today.
Thank you, Laurent.
Well, I do agree. This is there is opportunities, but as Guido said, you can't change from one system to another system. So, like countries start to think that they need to relocate their supply. You know, it's time to stop maybe to buy what we could harvest in our own country, but you can't do that from day one to day two. To have new crops prepared, it's 3 years most of the time. You need to change, you know, the earth system, the farming system, the crops as to grow. So it's a 3 years process, and the problem is right now. So what we see is that from a global, we go back to a local sourcing. This is the opportunity actually for the local farmers who have been working extremely hard the past year and 2 or 3 or 5, and were a little bit overlooked by our industry, because oh, you know, because it's 20 kilometers away, we are not looking at those guys, but they were working extremely well. And now we are begging them to get their products, and we are actually helping them now. The government and the retailers, just to help them to have a better packaging, a better system, because the product, they have it. So now we need to show them the route to our market, to make sure that we get their supply and we have it in a continuous way, that we don't have shortage. So this is the opportunity for the local business, who have been doing extremely well, but big companies were overlooking them. You're going to say, oh no, let's bring the things from 1,000 miles away, because we have a better price, we have better this. But you know, it might not work anymore, because we don't know when we will get back to normal. We may never get back to normal. So we need to rethink our way of sourcing, our way of working, our way of offering product, and getting back to season, getting back to local product, getting back and forcing natural, healthy, and organic, that we bring value to what they are doing, and we give value to our consumers as well.
So Laurent, you are an expert of procurement and help companies implement an introduction strategy on Asian market with your consulting companies, Euro Management. From your point of view, how is this crisis influencing the import-export from all Asian markets with the rest of the world?
Well, actually, it's influencing everybody. First, you don't meet the people anymore. And in food business, it's critical to see. When I was traveling, I was visiting the farmers, checking the product, and you get the relation with the people, because it's important. I mean, the niche product sourcing, you know, they don't need me for the, you know, let's say the big brands. This goes all around, but for niche product and very fresh product, I need to see it. So I can't see those products. So if I had relation with those suppliers, it's okay. We keep the relation online. If it's new suppliers and I have meeting every other days with another part of the world, even it's nice to meet people online. I don't get the feeling. I go nowhere, basically. I'm importing nowhere. And you realize that, and then when you talk on technical side, you say, okay, I'm interested in your product. How do we process? They say, okay, I don't have the volume. I want just a LCL container. There is no LCL container. I have no idea when I can get the product. So the whole chain has been disrupted, and it goes and goes and goes. So yes, we are very, very affected of this global crisis.
Thank you. How could this issue on global supply chain impact retails and food services? Guido, please.
Yeah, so the first thing that, of course, the two main things that we are seeing is there is a lack of the usual supply. So now probably consumers are buying what they can, not what they want. And for what they can obtain, the prices are definitely higher for all the reasons that Lauren explained. So I think that these are the two main issues that we are seeing like at this time.
Okay. Laurent, please.
Well, yes, it's the following what I was explaining. Just for instance, today, we were reopening a big supermarket in Bangkok. I had meeting with most of the suppliers, and it was part of the conversation today. They cannot get the product we were expecting, and they have no idea when it will come. The pricing, they could absorb the first 6 months the pricing as a goodwill regarding the business. They can't absorb it. So the pricing will go to our consumers because nobody can absorb it. So first, lack of product, more expensive, less attractive. So that will be very complicated. And then on top of it, people are buying online a lot. So we were expecting to see a bit more consumers coming back to the supermarket. But if the pandemic is going back to where we were a year ago, it's back to online. And online is perfect for what you need on every day, but for fresh, it doesn't work. You know, you can get toilet paper, no problem. It's the same you are buying since 10 years. But when you want to buy your fish, your spinach, your meat, you want to see it has to be fresh. And some countries have more challenges than others, that the route to consumers is more complicated because it's not well organized. It's not, frozen truck or refrigerated truck. So this is also the impact on retail and the food service. And at the end of that is all the restaurateur and hotel that first they don't have the consumers, and when they have them, they can't provide what is on their menu. They have to reduce. So again, where we go nowhere. So people are cooking. So this is on the positive side. People are cooking at home. So ready to cook, ready to eat, ready to prepare. It's one of the highlight of on the market, now from Horeca and from retail, because people have to survive, and restaurant also, they say they prepare boxes for people to cook at home, be the chef at home. So it's all, the impact has a lot of negativity, but some positivity in that people are getting back to cook by themselves, and we need to help them to be able to do that.
So generally speaking, the turnover from the supermarket are not decreasing, they're increasing, right?
Well, the turnover is increasing, but not with the product we would like to. So because people need to eat, so that will always work. You need your basic product. You need, so the supermarket itself is still working decently. Some have been working extremely well. Depend of the countries, depend of the region. So it's not too bad. Just we cannot give the consumer what they really want, and then it will be more and more complicated, and the pricing will be higher and higher for basic food. That is the worst, because it's for basic product from dairy, your milk, your oil, your bread or your rice will go up, and that is the problem, because it will affect the majority of the population. We forget the very wealthy. They will always be wealthy, and it's not the market we are in, but it's 90% of our market is mid-level population, and they cannot absorb to have increase of prices, every 2 months, from oil to put on their car to what they put on their table.
I understand. Yeah. Does it mean that, like, from the supply chain, that someone can get the benefits from this price increasing, or everyone is losing something? I mean, like farmers, they get more benefits, or why is like the price is increasing that much?
What because the oil, everything, you know, the oil is getting, the gas, the oil is getting more expensive. So you use a tractor to harvest, it costs more money. It costs more money to transport. So the farmer doesn't see much more increase. What the people who may benefit is the containers owner, because the price of the container has been multiplied by 5, 6, or 7. So those people may have, you know, benefit from it. And as well, it's kind of the big companies who own those containers, actually they have us on their hands. And if they don't want to deliver the container, or if they want to keep it for some reason and to gamble on the pricing, they can. So the disruption is even more important. So yes, people are making money always in terms of crisis. There is always, you know, people making money somewhere, but very little time they are the farmers, the one who should have it. So it's more on the chain, the people who own the transport, who own the containers, and also and as well people who sell online, that, you know, they sell by volume, so that they are the benefit.
Okay, I see. Guido, do you have something to add?
No, I think very much in line to what it was said, and I think, yeah, as you said, Melanie, the retailers, the turnover is increasing, but not forget that that's also at the expense of people eating less outside. So what it is a shift of consumption, maybe.
Okay, Laurent, could you give us like 2 or 3 forecasted trends and issues in terms of food and product sourcing and procurement, which you think will challenge the industry in the next few months or years?
In terms of trends, definitely local product. You know, we see that people are going back to source what is near their location. Everything that is healthy, I would not say organic, because it's a little bit reductive in terms of approval, but everything healthy and natural. The pandemic has really shown that we need to be more careful. You know, wherever the pandemic is issued from, it was linked to something that has been absorbed and eaten. So we need to be careful on what we eat. Eat less, better, using local product more. That is the trend. So everything under the umbrella natural. You know, people, maybe some want to go vegan, etc. For me, it's just a very tiny population. But really, everything that is natural and healthy and sourced locally will be the trend for the coming months. First, because technically it makes more sense, but as well, people are going back to the roots and say, listen, let's eat healthy, something that I know that I can purchase somewhere around, even through our retail or directly from wet market. That will be that. So the farming change, the farmers will focus on that, and they will expand probably, you know, some product that has been not farmed anymore. They start to think to do it again, because they say, if the pandemic is getting longer than that, let's grow some product that has been, you know, forgotten or purchased from somewhere else in the world. So this like Guido said at the beginning, it takes a bit of time, maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years, but it's time now to do it, because it will still be the trend in the coming years. The life we had is gone. So we need to focus on something more local, basically. You know, the way we were flying back and forth around the world is probably gone for a while. So people will say, okay, let's spend our money somewhere nice around and buy good product.
Okay, thank you, Laurent. Guido, in terms of final consumer trends, how could this crisis impact their expectation and behavior regarding nutrition food? I mean, consumers are increasingly searching for healthy food, as we talked just a moment, but also food and that rest the global value chain. And somehow this crisis shows some dysfunctions on the current food system. How could food and beverage research and development can help feed these forecasted trends?
In the way they can, Melanie. because I don't think that that trend is changed. I think that the trend for a group of consumers more nutritious, more conscious of what they are eating. The thing is how the companies will be able to source different ingredients in order to provide that solution to the consumers that, as it was said, will consume more local. So what they probably need to be rethink, I mean, companies will rethink is how they are going to formulate, where are they going to get the supplies, and what type of market they are going to cater. Because as we explained, the the possibility to have an open, fast, efficient supply chain to bring ingredients from where it's most convenient is now replaced by realistic possibilities from where you can actually source, and that will probably limit the type of developments that will be, will occur in each one of the markets. So it will probably be difficult for some of the multinational companies, for example, to standardize the same products made in different locations, because not all the ingredients will be able to arrive in the exact same way. And probably there will be more local type of solutions to certain demands. That's my opinion.
Laurent, do you have something to add?
No, I do agree totally with Guido. Nothing much to add. It's just opportunity for countries who can do that. You have countries who got the ability to do that, but you have countries that are poor, not in terms of being poor as a country, but poor on resources. That if you don't have the sea, you don't have seafood. If your soil is poor, you can't grow nothing. And some countries have to import because they have no other choices. Or small countries, aka Singapore, Hong Kong, when you don't grow anything. This is business hub. So those countries are based on business and importing everything, and they don't have the ability to grow, to sustain the population. So that would be a challenge. Countries in Europe that are known for growing will benefit of it. Countries in Southeast Asia that are known to have, like here in Thailand, fruits, vegetables, seafood, and some kind of other product will benefit of it. Australia is a country when you get everything, they will benefit of it, but some others cannot. So that will be also a challenge in terms of how your economy can support this new, it's not a trend, these new choices.
Yeah, that's true. So now it's time for the Q&A. I'm going to choose some questions in the chat box and like Guido and Laurent to answer it. So I just got a question from one of the participants. The question is, I work in the packaging industry. With the energy crisis, issues on supply chain, and even new rules, for instance, in France, where they are going to forbid packaging on fruits and vegetables. The question is, how do you forecast the future of packaging? Is this challenging some sectors, for instance, dairy with food safety?
This would be an engineering problem that we always find a way. We can't have plastic, they found another way. So I guess this is a challenge, but a challenge that can be answered. This is engineering and people I'm not a package person, but I know that companies are working on food grade packaging. It costs more money, but it's a challenge, but it can be overcome very quickly. It's just a matter of time and money, but that would be done. It's not the main challenge for me that I see, because the human being is smart enough to find a way to package it and to take care of whatever new regulation has been written or requested. So it's just time and money and smart thinking.
Thank you, Laurent. We have another question. So, will this crisis reinforce inequalities between countries in terms of development? Is this threatening the food security? So someone would like to answer this question?
But well, Guido, if you want, but otherwise I can. Yes, definitely. In terms of crisis, you always have countries who take over and other inequality will be, and we see it actually starting, will be even wider and bigger. In terms of food safety, this I'm not really sure because the countries will be more cautious on what is going out of their harvest and everything. So for the food safety, I have a tendency to be optimistic. In terms of inequality, yes, definitely we see it in terms of population, in terms of global warming. So in terms of pandemic, because not everybody is on the same page, on the same stage. And in terms of food supply, like I just mentioned, the companies that, the countries that have the ability to grow products will take over the market, and the one who can't will suffer definitely, because they will have to pay a bigger price to get the product. So yes.
Thank you. I think just Guido got some connection problem. He just informed.
Yeah, I'm back online.
Okay, you can hear now. Okay, yeah. Perfect. Thank you, Laurent, for the answer. There's a last question is, will governments have their role to play to support the industry in terms of economy and food supply?
Yeah, sure, Melanie. And every country has a different policy, of course. But I think in many countries, if government doesn't play a role, it will be difficult for the private sector to bear the burden just by themselves. That's clear.
Okay, Laurent, please.
No, the same. Agree, and this will expand the inequality as well. We are extremely lucky in Europe. The government has been helping a lot all the sectors of activities. And I hope they can still push. So for the food business, yes, from the hotel and restaurant industry, retailers didn't need it. The farmers didn't need it really, because they were providing the product. But it's more at the end of the chain, the hotel and restaurant industry who could not work. So our government has been helping, and some countries can't. Like for instance, where I'm living. Now the hotel and restaurant industry is dying, and it was one of the 5 key industries for Thailand. So, and I would say all the Southeast Asia, the government doesn't have the ability to sustain and to protect. Companies are dying, hotels are closing, restaurants are closing, unemployment is rising. So again, if you are lucky to live in a modern country, you may survive decently. If you are in a rising country with no backup plan, that back to square one, and to 20 or 30 years before, when we had poverty. So that will show exactly where we are in the world actually, and expand the difficulties for everybody, but even more for countries that have difficulties.
Thank you, Laurent. Last one. So do you think smaller companies could cope this crisis? Is this easier for them maybe?
Frankly speaking, yeah, sorry, because my connection is not the best, and probably, Melanie, with this answer, I may say goodbye, because I have difficulties with the connection.
No worries.
But I think that it's difficult to say yes or no. You really need to understand in which segment and in which country, because there are some companies that are small but flexible and have the ability or the possibility to be close to a big consumption hub, and they can have the advantage of being a local supplier that now have the ability to supply a bigger market. Probably before they were not as efficient, but now have the location that is helping them. whereas for other companies, it's probably a bit more difficult.
Okay, thank you. Laurent, please.
Totally agree.
Their access to
totally
market
agree.
actually is okay. It's more a case by case.
Yeah, the small company may have the flexibility if the environment is good, you know, to change from one process to another process and to adapt very quickly. The bigger company cannot do that, but they have the cash flow to resist. So it's like I say, like Guido said, it's difficult to say, but I would say in a good market, a small company can rebound quickly and adapt to the demand very quickly. A big company cannot, but the bigger company have the cash flow to plan ahead and to resist. You know, if a small disruption for a little company can destroy the whole business for them. So it's difficult to say, but it's in terms of crisis, you have opportunities and they have to grab it, but it's not always easy, and you do not always know which way you want to go or you need to go. It's not you may know where you want, but it's maybe not what is need to be done. So that's a bit it's very challenging.
That's true, Laurent. So thank you. The webinar is taking an end now. Thank you again, Guido and Laurent, for answering those questions and for this great presentation. It was a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you everyone for attending. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation. Please don't hesitate to subscribe on U14 to keep informed for future webinars and other coming events. Have a great day or evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.